Hello, YouTube. Happy Sunday. It is like 8 degrees outside. It is so cold. I think they turned down the heat because usually it's much hotter in my apartment. And it's like last night I had to put the heat on because it was like a draft coming in or whatever. So I just turned the heater off. I'm in my living room. I'm staying in my living room for the day. Give the heater a rest because the heater was on like all night, and they say you're not supposed to do that, but it's cold. I got my blankie. Like it's cold. Like yesterday I went out. It wasn't so bad. Like if you dress warm and it's wherever you gotta go is close. Like I went to get my hair done. I like these braids. This is the first time I've had box braids this small, and I had the ends curled or whatever. I feel like this is the best box braids I've had. I went to a new beautician because my former hair braider or whatever, she would do it and then in 2 weeks it would look old. So hopefully this lasts. I done paid a grip for this like 200. It was a $20 deposit. This is my first time doing a deposit because that's what turned me off about them before. But I was like, I need a new hair braider, and I'm gonna keep these in. I'm trying to keep these in for as long as possible. I'm always switching up. Like I be taking stuff out after 3 weeks. I don't even wear it. If it look like any type of old, I just take it out. But hopefully it lasts long. But today I wanted to talk about an ongoing issue that's been going on in our community. Um, and it's mental health. We don't talk about it enough, but I wanted to talk about it today. When I woke up, I have, YouTube, and there's something called Crime of Passion. And almost every month, I'm hearing of somebody dying at the hands of their partner. And these men are not even physically abusive. They're just, one particular couple, I think they were married already. Because, yeah, the guy kept saying, my wife, my wife. They were married. They didn't say how for how long, but they were social media influencers. And I wanted to briefly talk about that. Somebody had made a comment and was like, "Oh, that's why people who post a relationship online, they'd be the most miserable." And I responded. I didn't see my response, but I wrote it, and I don't know if it was deleted or whatever, but I was like, it's half and half. So you do have happy couples that post online. I'm not going to say that everybody who posts is miserable. I think for a man, I know men who don't post their wives and they cheat. They do, they out there and they do them. So I feel like if a man is in a long-term relationship and or married and he's not posting his wife at all, I feel like that's a red flag too, because especially if you're constantly on social media and you have a partner, even if you don't post all the time, people should know that you're taken. And that's just how I see it. Like, um it's half and half. Just because somebody posts all the time, that doesn't mean that they're unhappy because they post their relationship all the time. That's just what they want to do. Versus a person who don't post at all is like, why doesn't anybody know you have a girlfriend? And from what I know, like one particular guy, I think I told y'all, the one who died from cancer, and we briefly dated when I was 21. He didn't have social media at all. So he's a perfect example of a person who he didn't want women to find out about each other, but what's done in the dark come to the light. A woman had text messaged me saying that she was his girlfriend. He denied it, and I believed it. I told her straight up, we are not getting physical because when we go out, I pay for everything. So even at 21, I had enough sense to, I was stupid enough to pay for him, but I'm not going to have sex with a man and I'm paying for everything. Like, I was never that desperate. Like, you got women who pay bills and pay this and pay. I'm not doing all that. It's, if we going out to eat, he convinced me that, he had his own place. And at the time I was living at home, and come to find out he was living at home too. Like, he lied about a lot of things because he claimed that this girl wasn't his girlfriend, But a lot of the things that she said was true. Like, I found out he really was older because in his obituary it said he was born in 1981. So he's same age as Beyonce. Like, and I'm 89, so you do the math. So he said he had his own place when he was living at home with his mother. He said he had a car. I kind of figured he didn't have a car because every time we went out, we took the train. Like, we never was in a car. So I kind of figured he didn't have a car. He invited me to his place because he wanted to be intimate. And I'm like, no, like, why would I be intimate with you and you ignore my calls, you ignore my texts? When I finally get a hold of you, I'm paying for dates. Like, yeah, you cute, but I'm not doing that. Like, that's just how I am. That's just how I've always been. I was 21. I'm 36 now. Yeah, I was never a stupid chick. I was never like, I was stupid for paying because I believed him. He claimed he had all these bills. He claimed he had this and this. And at the time I was living at home, the only bill I had was my son, and I was paying tuition, you know, or whatever. But, I didn't really have any other bills, so I was like, sure, I could pay for us to whatever. And he was so fine to me, I was just so happy to be in his presence, but I refused to sleep with him. And I was happy because, whatever. But I said all that to say this. He was somebody who had no social media, and he did that because he was with different women, and that was his way of keeping his business to himself. And you have a lot of men that are extremely handsome, and they either have no social media, or if they have social media, there's no indication. Like, I know a guy I used to work with, when I say fine, like, he's on another level of fine. Like, he looked like the guy from, those of y'all who Janet Jackson fans, again, the guy that was in that with the locks, that's how he looks. Like, he is just the most handsome man you will ever see in your life. Whoever you think is fine, I'm telling you, he looked better. So he's fine. Like, he's really, really, he's really fine. And when you look at his Facebook, there's no indication of a girlfriend from, you could go back to 2012, and there's no indication of that he was ever in a relationship. But he is in a relationship, and he keeps that to himself because he likes to have different women, right? So that's my conquest on it. That's my opinion on it. I feel like if you're a person in a long-term relationship, people should, I'm not saying you should post a person every day, but people should know you're in a relationship, right? So when people say, oh, the people who post the most, they the most miserable in a relationship, I wouldn't say that. People have different reasons why they post. Me, when I get married, I'm going to post because I want people to have hope. I want to spread hope, and especially with me, if I ever get married, it's going to be a testimony because I've been single forever. I've been single. I'm 36. I've been in 2 long-term relationships. I've been in other relationships too, but as far as long-term, I've only been in 2 long-term relationships. The other relationships was under 6 months, so don't really count that. But when I get married, it's going to be like getting a degree. It's going to, like, when I graduated college, what? I was singing to the hills. Like, I post, yes. So when I get married, I want to encourage other women, like, yes, there's good men out there. Yes, there's refuge, whatever. When I post my son, it's not to just brag. Yes, I'm very proud of my son, but it's to show people that just because you're a single mom, that doesn't mean that your child is doomed for failure. There's a lie going around. Yeah, a lot of people, especially black women that are single parents, they don't never say nothing negative about a white woman being a single parent. But the society we live in, even my own family, um, my parents said, oh, you a single mom, how is your son going to turn out? I'm like, better than y'all. Like, my son is great, and I brag on that all day, every day, because people think because you're a single mom in the hood, in the projects, that your children or your child is doomed for failure. Granted, you do have people like in my own family. My grandparents were married, if that's what you want to call it, but my grandfather was doing him, right? He made some decisions that wasn't so nice, and my uncles did not turn out good. They didn't. Even my father, he did some things in his past that wasn't so nice, and you would think they was raised by a single mom just by the way they turned out. But it just shows you, like, having a father in the household or not, it doesn't matter. Is you have to have at least one consistent adult in that child's life. That's it. My homeboy, he didn't have no male role models. All he had was his grandma. He is married, he is faithful, and he is a good man, and he's a good father. His wife says it all the time on Facebook, and every time I'm on the phone with him, he's with his kids. So I said that to say this, like, to all my single mothers out there or grandparents raising boys, as long as you have God, that's all that matters. Lucky for me, I had my village. Lucky for me, I did have my father. But even if I didn't, my son is my son, and I could truly say he's a good kid from the very beginning. From the time he was going to daycare, from the time he was going to pre-K, he was just a good kid. There's not one teacher that can say anything bad about him. And I stand on truth. I'm not even making it up. He's never been in trouble. He's never been in any gangs or any of that. My son is 17 with a 3.4 GPA since the 5th grade. Is he perfect? No. Sometimes he shows lack of, sometimes, he doesn't want to wash the dishes or whatever, little things. But he not in the street. I don't worry about him or where he's at. I don't go through any of that. And it's to God be the glory. As long as you have God on your side, that's all that matters. Because you have people that's born and raised in the suburbs, and they turn out crazy. Mental illness, all type of stuff. And that brings me to my topic of discussion for today, is mental health in Black men. And I always talk to my son of what's wrong with him, what's going on with him. He was bullied. So I didn't realize it until my son was going through it, that bullying is a serious thing. It's more than just words. People internalize it, especially if it's been going on for years. A girl that I was friends with, I was in her wedding. I told y'all she had low self-esteem. It came from bullying. She was told that she was ugly in school, and it affected her self-esteem to the point that she started dating a jailbird, and it took for her to get with her husband to, like, kind of get away from him a little bit, but she still had a craving for him because she had low self-esteem, and that came from bullying. So if your kids are coming home and they're telling you that they're being bullied, please take it serious. Please don't brush it off. Make sure you talk to the teachers, the dean. Teach your children, like I always teach my son, defend yourself, verbally. I had to take his phone away for 9 months because he was letting people just say whatever, and he wasn't retaliating. So I'm like, you need to say something back. Like with me, whenever somebody was bothering me, I didn't really get bullied. I had this one boy in 8th grade that I told y'all in a previous video. He was bothering me, but I always had a clap back. Like I'm and people say I'm argumentative because I speak up for myself. If that's what makes me argumentative, so be it. You're not just gonna sit here and put me down and say things that's not true. Yes, I'm human. I'm gonna say something back. So if that makes me argumentative, so be it, right? It's but so much ignoring you could do. I'm the queen of quiet and ignoring. But once I feel like you trying to punk me and you're saying things that's just fucked up, I'm gonna ask you what your problem is, right? Yeah. So, yeah. If your kid comes home and they say that they're being bullied or whatever, please listen to them. Don't brush it off. Please try to investigate and find out what's going on. Please go through their phones. You pay the bill at the end of the day. And even if they pay the bill, like I said in the previous video, those of you especially who have daughters, go through that phone. because she could be having sex, she could be doing so many things because she's being peer pressured by some guy that's making her do that, that's getting into her brain, that's making her do things she don't want to do. Be an advocate for her. Don't judge her, with your sons too. I was telling my son yesterday, like, if anybody, he had a girl blowing up his phone like 2 years ago, 3 years ago, 4 years ago. Yeah, he was in junior high, so that was 4 years ago. And I told him straight up, like, I picked up the phone. I try not to be mean to her, but I'm like, yo, stop, what are you calling him for? Didn't he tell you he was going out? So, like, to my moms out there, if your son is, somebody's blowing up that's a sign of bullying. Y'all may not see it, but anybody that's calling your child's phone repeatedly, trying to make them talk, or trying to, and your child don't want to talk to them, that is a form of bullying, in case y'all didn't know. We think of bullying as teasing or ridiculing a person, but if somebody wants to be with your child in a romantic way and your child does not want to be with them in that way, and they keep calling them and pushing up on them, that is a form of bullying. That is a form of harassment. That's why they call it sexual harassment. And we talk about sexual harassment on the job, but sometimes a child could be sexually harassed by another child. Hell, a child could be sexually harassed by a teacher. We got to open the discussion. And with my son, I know he don't tell me everything, and he said he regrets telling me some things because sometimes I repeat it and I'm not perfect, and sometimes I have to my father, whoever. But let's open the discussion of our children getting harassed, because it's happened. I've been harassed in my early days, and like I told y'all, with an old coworker in 2018, we worked together in 2008, 2009. He tried to get with me in 2010, and then he tried to get with me again in 2018. And I said, I'm not changing my mind. I didn't want you back then. I don't want you now. And why would I want you when you slept with two of my friends and you're sitting here talking about who's a hoe and who's not a hoe and who's a hoe, and like, no respect for women, and I'm asleep with you after you telling me this? Like, no. It got to a point where I had to threaten the police. He called me at least 20 times a day. And it's like, we weren't working together, but I'm thinking he's cool. I'm thinking we're friends, and he flipped it. He just, he flipped it. So open the discussion, talk to your kids, talk to your whoever, and yeah. But I wanted to talk about mental health briefly with Black men, and a lot of them are not well, and you have conversations with them and they say things that's off the wall, and we hear about all these crimes and men killing their wives. I think that's the scariest thing in the world. To like, another one is, what I've been hearing a lot is these men are proposing these lavish proposals. They're proposing, and that's what any woman, me personally, I would love that. Like, if my husband to be got all my friends and family together and proposed to me in front of everybody, I would love that, because yes, you love me, everybody should know. But these same men are killing these women, and I'm confused. And then the mothers are saying that they had no idea that the husband to be was a nice guy, that he was loving, he was caring, and they just can't understand, like, how did this come out of left field? Like, why did this happen? Like, they're so confused. And it is scary because, like, with me, I usually have good discernment, but sometimes you just don't know. And it's just so scary that you could be with somebody, they could be a loving person, but they have intentions on killing you. And then there was another case. Another thing that's common is pregnant women. This girl, she didn't even want a second child. She had her son. He was 6 years old. She got into a relationship. And I was like, my son was around 7 or 8 when I got into my first long-term relationship. And she gets into a relationship, she gets pregnant, whatever, and she said it. She was like, I didn't plan this. If somebody was to tell me I was having a child, I would say hell no. People in the comments talking about she trapped him. How she trapped him, and it said that's another topic, but people believe lies. The video said that she did not want another child, but shit happened, and of course she gonna keep it. Like, why would she have an abortion? So she kept the child. They having all these pictures and photography pictures, and he kissing her, and the mother was like, he was a good boyfriend, like he was a good guy. The day she was supposed to get induced, he kills her and the fetus. And it's just so sad because the mother was like, it came out of left field. He never hit her. He was never verbally abusive. Like, the relationship seemed so perfect until it wasn't. And it's just, obviously that's a mental health issue. And what made it so shocking is this man had children already. So it's not like he's the first time dad and don't know what to do. Like, she saw how he was with his children and she fell in love with that. Like, naturally you want a stepdad for your child. Every woman wants that. That's a single parent. And he was a good dad to his kids. They got into a relationship, and then she becomes pregnant and he kills her. And it's like, what are the signs? What could we do as women? Like, for me, I stay away from crazy as much as I can. Um, but like, seriously, like, what are the signs of being with a killer? How do you know that you're with a killer? Sometimes these things that I'm seeing on YouTube, sometimes there is no signs. Like with Gabby, I was talking to my coworker about the Gabby story is so fascinating to me because he proposed to her and killed her days after. And they were social media influencers, and or no, she kept recording videos and never published it, I think. And I think she published it a week before she died or something like that. And it was 700 views, and after she died, it was in the millions. But basically, they were a cute couple. Everybody thought they was fine until it wasn't. And so the mother was even shocked because, like, a week before she died, or 2 weeks, he had hit her and somebody seen it and called the cops. So she had told her mom about the incident, and the mom was like, okay, I think you need to come back home. Like, and she's grown. She's like 21 at this time. She's like, no, mom, everything is fine. Me personally, your ass is coming back home. Like, I think I spoke about it in a previous video. Like, I don't care how grown my son is. If he's in any type of ratchetness, no, you're coming home. Like, you're coming home. You're coming home. That is not something you need to be involved with. That is not, like, no. And I guess the mother didn't want to be too pushy because Gabby was like, oh, everything is fine. And then next thing you know, she, expired, and it's sad. But yeah, like, mental health, obviously these men are, regardless of their race, the mental health is not all there. So it's like, what are the signs? What could we do as women to prevent men like this from entering our lives? Those of y'all might be watching it. You might be watching this video and saying, oh, it could never happen to you. Let me tell you something. There are plenty. You need to educate yourself. Fatal attraction, snapped. You know why they call it snapped? Because the person literally snaps. A lot of those relationships, there are no red flags. You have women who kill their husbands for insurance money. The husbands didn't see that coming. Especially, there was a case of a nurse who she put some stuff in his vein where he couldn't move. So when he opened his eyes to a house fire, he couldn't move, right? She killed him for insurance money. It was shocking because family and friends said they had such a wonderful relationship, right? So it's like, that's scary to me because if you feel like your partner loves you, you're not going to suspect them of killing you. However, I feel like it gotta be some type of sign or something. I don't know. I don't know. And then some people are killing people and there's no money involved. Like with the young lady that was pregnant and she was supposed to get induced that day and he kills her. He never, there were no signs. The mother had no idea. The girl's mother, she was like, he was a good guy. Like he was good to his kids that he had prior to her. Um like nobody could say nothing bad about him. And he just plotted, premeditated. He got two dudes to do it. Like he hired people to kill her. And luckily he's locked up, all three of them, But it's just scary because it can happen to any woman. People in the comments talking about she tried to trap him and this and that. How you figure when she said on the video and on her social media, she said she was not trying to have another kid, and I believe her because I wasn't trying to have another kid. I'm still not trying to have another kid. My son's 17. So yeah, like not all of us want a bunch of babies, and that's another stereotype that's in the hood. Like, oh, she wanted to trap him. No, her social media, and she said it in the video that she did not want to, have another child. She was good with the one she had. She had a 6-year-old, and she was fine with that, But they got into a relationship, and things happen. Sometimes people don't use protection, whatever. Yes, you should use protection, but some people don't, and that's what happened. Some guys forget to pull out, and it's just unfortunate. But men's mental health, I think it needs to be pushed a little bit more. Us as women, we talk about it, and I could truly say, for me, the best therapy for me is talking. Like, I went through things, and talking to people helps. Going out with girlfriends, your friends, that's very imperative. People feel like they don't need friends or they don't need a social life. Your social life is, especially in your 20s, because they said that's when, like the nurse who lied about being kidnapped, they said that in your 20s, people go through schizophrenia or something like that. Your 20s is very important. You need your friends and your social life. And you could tell people in their 20s who don't have friends, it's not all there with them. In your 30s, your social life is not as much, but you still need that outlet. 40s, 50s, you need at least one or two people to talk to. I cannot stress that enough. So any man listening to me at the sound of my voice, go and talk to someone. If you're having thoughts in your head that you know is not right, talk to someone. Okay? Therapy is not enough. Therapy is 1 hour. Get you a guy friend to talk. Okay? There's at least one person in your life you could talk to, even if it's your girlfriend. There was a guy, he was, like I told y'all, he was crazy, but he used to talk to me. A lot of times I didn't want to talk to him, because I was 16, 17, I was just too young to deal with that type of energy. But there is another person, whether if it's a female or male, that you're having these thoughts in your head. You want to kill yourself. You want to kill somebody else. Talk to someone. It doesn't make you less of a man. It doesn't make you anything. But talking is therapy. Please talk to someone. I wish there was a way we could just stop all murders, but I'm not God, and that's not possible. And even God gives people free will, so, but it's just so sad, and it's prevalent in every community. It's not even just our community as a people, black people, but men's mental health is so important. Like, because when your mental health is not intact, this is what happens. Unnecessary. She had everything going for herself. Beautiful young girl. She had a son. Now, I don't know if the father was involved, but he don't have his mom because you made an impulsive decision. And it's like, one thing I don't understand in the other comments, like, just walk away. If you don't want to be with her, you don't want to be a father, just walk away. Like, why you gotta kill her and the baby? Scott Peterson. She didn't see that coming. The only red flag she had was the first pregnancy he didn't want. And that ended in, I think, a miscarriage or abortion, whatever. And when she was pregnant that second time, her mom was like, "Are you sure that he wants this baby?" She's like, "Yeah, he's changed." And he did change. Like, the baby room was set up. I think her baby shower, they had her baby shower. It was Christmas Eve, and they said he was such a loving husband. So when it came out the woodwork that he killed her, he had a girlfriend on the side, nobody saw that. It was just so, shocking, you know. But comment, like, and subscribe. What could we do with men's health to make it better? It's just scary. It's to a point when I be scared to watch YouTube. Like, I am obsessed with YouTube since I was like 17 years old, 17, 8. I was watching YouTube when nobody else was, because they used to put the music videos on there. So when everybody was watching Yahoo and stuff like that, my shit was always YouTube. So I've been watching YouTube for a long time. I finally made a channel. I made a channel like a few years back, but it was to upload concerts only because I would always run out of storage. But this I've been doing for 3 years now. Yeah, 3 years since I was in the locker room. If y'all been following me since the locker room, press the like button. So I done switched jobs. I done graduated. A lot's happened, No, I think the locker room was after I graduated. Yeah. So, but yeah. Comment, like, and subscribe. What could we do for men's health? It's not looking good for us as a society. I feel like it's more men that's killing their women now than ever before. And y'all could say it's the devil, but it's mental health too. Like, what is it in the water? What the hell is going on? Like, for real, on a serious note. Comment, like, and subscribe.